are back.
We're back.
Did you miss us?
We're back.
All right. Anyway, we are the Sammy Nicole and Fifi show. I'm Sammy Nicole. This is Fifi. We are a dynamic mother-daughter duo. And here on our channel, we discuss all things love, life, relationships, and pop culture. All right. So tonight, what are we going to be talking about, Mom?
I should have beat your butt more.
Wait, what?
I should have gave you one more whooping. Now we talking about Samantha said that she's not gonna spank her kids.
No, I don't want to spank my kids.
She said when she have kids, she's not gonna spank them. She's not gonna whoop them. The Bible say, spare the rod, spoil the child. So I have a biblical point of view. Samantha has an educational point of view, and I think this is where education goes wrong. You can have too much education and it could be, too much for you. Samantha undergrad is her bachelor's of science is in psychology with a concentration of pre-med. I'm a business administration, but I believe in the Bible. The Bible say whoop your kids' ass.
That's what the Bible says?
That's what the Bible say.
Whoop your kids' ass?
That's what the Bible say. And I'm just, thank God Samantha was not a child where I had to spank her. I can count on my hand the number of times where I had to spank her. When she was a toddler, she would, maybe mess with the outlets and I would, give her a little sting to the hand or the leg or the thigh, something like that. But really, pretty much, I really didn't have to spank you. I put you out once when you were 4.
Oh, yeah, because I said I wanted to run away because you had pissed me off.
We got into an argument and she said she was leaving. She said she was going to stay with her daddy.
Yeah.
So I opened up the door. First, I told her to take off my clothes. I opened up the door and I let her out.
You didn't tell me to take off my clothes.
Yeah, you had on your school uniform. I told you to take off my school uniform.
I had clothes on.
You had clothes on, and I told you to go put some old clothes on because those were my clothes. I let her out that door, and I sat back down and watched Judge Mathis. That's when Judge Mathis was coming on at 6 o'clock. And I told her, go ahead. And I closed the door, and then after a while, I heard a little knock on the door. She was out there. I said, you ready to come back? She said, yes, Mommy. And we were fine. So I didn't have no problem. I really didn't have any problem with Samantha until she turned 12, them tweens. And then, I got to the point where we just separated. You go in your room, I go in my room, and we'll come back together when you get yourself together. Because I would get so angry at her, and that's another thing. I don't think you should never whoop your kids or spank your kids out of anger.
But most parents do.
They
do spank their kids out of frustration and anger.
Yeah, I would get so mad at Samantha where I would just have to separate because her mouth, when she turned 12... 16, and we know what happened when you turn 16. You got your car taken away. Your dad took your car away.
Are you just telling all my business?
Her daddy took a car away, y'all, for about 3 weeks because of her little mouth. So we really didn't spank Samantha. We just took things away that she liked, even with her cell phone. You didn't even really care about your cell phone, but that car, oh man, now that was serious. So you can do other things to discipline, I think.
So do you believe in spanking then? Because now you saying you can do other things besides spanking.
I was raised.
You just proved my point.
Wait a minute.
It's not necessary.
I was raised to believe that you had to spank your child. But when I had you...
But did they ever explain when your mom would whoop
no.
you? Did she explain why?
No, and I remember one of the whoopings that I got, I was about 7. This was before my sister was born. And I remember that my mom was going somewhere. I don't know where she was going. Probably at one of my auntie's houses or one of her friends' houses. But she told me I wasn't going with her. And I was a mother's daughter. I stayed up under my mother.
Mommy's girl.
Mm-hmm. I stayed up under her, and she told me this particular day, I'm finna go, and you gonna stay with your daddy. And what she say that for? I hit the floor, hollering, screaming, and crying. Went out the door behind her, hollering and screaming and crying. And you all, I'll never forget this. My daddy was out in the yard watering the grass. He said, "Oh, no, Velma, take her with you." No, she can't stay here with me with all that hollering and crying. Take her with you, Velma. So my mama, she took me with her. We got halfway to her destination. My mama pulled over on the side of the road, y'all. She got her a switch, and she whooped me because I wanted to go with her. And she told me, the next time I tell you I'm getting ready to go and you gonna stay with your daddy, you bet not holler. Y'all don't call defects on my mama, okay? Because she older now. I don't know if it's a statute of limitation. But she older now.
She beat you out of frustration. She was mad at your dad because they had a toxic relationship. She was miserable.
He didn't want to keep me.
Yeah. Instead of projecting her anger towards him, she projected it towards you because she was mad and miserable and angry and
I remember that.
And frustrated. That's all that was.
I remember that. And I remember
she didn't want to be inconvenienced.
Right. I remember getting spanked. Me and my brother fighting on Saturday morning over the TV, turning the TV. Back then you used to have that dial knob where you turn the TV. We would be in there arguing. My daddy never spanked us, but he would definitely edge my mama on and aggravate. Go in there and whoop their ass, fam. They in there fighting. Go in there and whoop their ass. I remember getting spankings like that. I don't remember my sister getting any spankings because we were so many years apart, but I do remember my brother getting a spanking, a beating pretty much. I'm from Gary, Indiana, and pretty much where we stayed around railroad tracks, industrial and passenger tracks. So on both sides of us, we had passenger trains that came on each side of the house, and then in the back of us, it was like industrial. So we had a passenger. The Amtrak came on one track, and on the other track, it was called the South Shore, which was a transit from Chicago to Gary all the way up to North Indiana. And that train, when it came, it was like shoom. So for some reason, my brother and his friends love to play on the railroad track. They love to throw rocks off this track. So my mom kept telling my brother, keep your butt off the railroad track, throwing rocks. The train comes fast, you're going to get hurt, you can get killed. Well, he would never listen. He stayed on. I may have snitched on him a couple of times myself. He wouldn't stay off the track. So my mom waited. My mom worked nice. She waited till he was in the bed asleep. She made him strip butt naked. Once again, y'all don't call defects on my mama. She made him strip butt naked.
Flashback to slavery. What the hell?
And she beat him with a wet cloth. And he didn't go back on the tracks no more. But that's not all. I have cousins who've gotten beaten with extension cords, race tracks. Okay. In Generation X, that happened. It happened, and I've gotten where I had whelps on my arm, and you know what? And to think about it, I don't know if that made me a good person or a better person or not.
So can I ask you a question? I'm asking to speak, y'all, because I know everybody say I interrupt her.
Whatever.
But, Mom, do you harbor any resentment towards your mom?
I don't. I really don't. I don't harbor any resentment towards her because I think that she was just doing what she saw or what she had done to her. Her daddy beat them. I heard stories where my uncle was tied to a tree because he was such a bad seed. They was trying to beat him right, So I just think the pathology. I just think it's the pathology. And like I said, I can count on one hand as many spankings that I've given you. I really hadn't spanked you, but I think that you turned out pretty good. I'm proud of the way you turned out. So I don't think that, that people say, well, if you don't spank your child, society gonna spank them. I just think that when the child is young, we all need boundaries, and you start to set boundaries. And when Samantha was young, when she was 2 and 3, I set boundaries, and I had conversations with her like we talk now. this is, it's you and mommy. I need for you to be a big girl. Now you can do A, B, and C, and with A, B, and C, it comes consequences, and they can either be good or bad. So you make that choice. This is what I need for you to do, and if you don't do that, this is gonna happen. So I talk to you and let you make the decision for yourself to make the right decision. And you knew if you didn't make the right decision what the consequence would be. And I didn't have any problem with you. I didn't have any problem. And I just thank God, that you were a good child. And I tell people all the time, if I had to raise you all over again, I would. Because I just didn't have a discipline problem with you. Mm-hmm. But I know what some kids, it's different. And I think like Toya on Married to Medicine. She got the 2 little boys.
And they're so cute.
And they just so cute.
They really are.
But they kind of busy. And they don't
say you want to say bad.
They bad as hell,
That's
y'all.
What you will say.
And they don't keep their room clean. So she was on Instagram. She did an Instagram post like, she showed the picture of the room of the kids. The room was just tore up, y'all. They had took all the bedding off the bed. They had took all the clothes out the closet. And the room was just a mess. And she was like, I've tried everything. I've paid them. I told them I was gonna buy them toys, and somebody put down in the Instagram comments, have you whooped their ass yet? Have you tried whooping their ass? So, in that case, what do? You start taking away things. I started taking away things from Samantha when she got older, and I didn't want to spank my child, because I know I had got whooped before, and it's degrading.
So you don't agree with it.
And now that I'm older, I really don't agree with it. Now that I'm older and I look back on
y'all,
it.
she's agreeing with... Go ahead, continue.
Now that I'm older, I look back on it, and I don't know if getting a spanking or whooping made me who I am. I mean, I respect my mom, but you respect me as your mother. I don't have any disrespect issues with you. You respect me because I think that I set boundaries, and I talk to you, and I let you know I am your mother. And there was some point where I would have to tell you, look at me, Samantha, who am I? And you would say, Mommy, because I wanted you to know I'm your mother. I'm not your sister. I'm not your friend. I'm your mother. And you remember that, and you gonna do what I say do. So you was just... I guess just intelligent enough as a child to pick up on that and know your boundaries. I think when, even with a 2-year-old, like you tell them don't do that, and they'll say no, or come here, do it. No. Well, they just trying you. They're trying. Testing the water. Want to see what their boundaries are. And then that's when you have to let them know, okay, this is what's gonna happen if you don't do what I say. And so you start to set that pattern, and you start to engrave that in them. So when they get older, they know, okay, let me not play with my mama, because it's gonna be some consequences behind it. And those consequences don't always have to be a beating. I think some kids you can sit down and you can talk to. Now my dad, like I said, he never spanked us, but he would cuss us out.
So your dad wasn't physically reprimand you,
but he would tell
physically
us
abusive, but he was verbally abusive.
Sit your ass down, I'm gonna beat your ass. But he would never do it. But
it's verbal abuse,
right? So I don't know if that, and then I found myself saying to you, Samantha, I'm gonna bust you in your mouth, and I started to think like, okay,
the pathology.
Let me not say that to my child, because that don't sound good,
So do you think maybe, especially like in the Black community, when we say stuff like, I'm gonna beat your ass, I'm gonna go get a switch, I'm gonna beat you with a switch, I'm gonna beat you with an extension cord, I'm gonna beat you with a shoe, do you think that slavery has something to do with that in our community? Why we feel so comfortable beating the crap out of our kids when they do something wrong, or even when they don't do something wrong? We just frustrated with them. We just so quick to beat them because that's our pathology as a people. When you want somebody to do something that you want them to do and they don't comply, the quickest way you know how to get them to comply is to beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And I personally think that it breeds resentment with children when you're beating on them like that. And I think that it can have a lot of negative effects. You know, if you hear your dad cussing you out, telling he gonna whoop your ass and stuff like that, then who's to say you might not feel, who's to say you won't see that as acceptable behavior from another man?
And you
whether
learned
it
this
be
in your
romantic
studies, psychology studies.
Okay, Shay. Anyway, whether it be like romantically or platonically, you know, you used to your dad cussing you out and stuff. Who's to say that won't be uncommon to you when you are an adult and you're out in the real world and you got a man cussing and yelling at you? Or even in your life, if you get frustrated with somebody or somebody is talking slick to you on the street and the only way you know how to resolve it is to beat their ass or whoop their ass, you know what I mean? So it's like, even though we don't think, you know, it shows up, a lot of people will say, well, my mom whooped my ass and I turned out just fine. I don't agree with that. I don't. I think in some way, shape, or form, it shows up in some form in a negative way. You know, you may not be out here killing people or shooting people, but I'm sure in some way you may either harbor resentment, or when you get upset and flustered, you may not know how to articulate how you feel in a healthy, mature manner because maybe you fear confrontation. You know, maybe growing up you were afraid to express how you felt to your parents because you felt they were gonna go off on you, or, you know, and beat your butt. So maybe you have issues with expressing yourself. Maybe you may have found yourself in relationships with partners who slapped you or pushed you, or who were verbally abusive because you were used to that. Your mama beat the crap out of you, or your daddy beat the crap out of you, or your grandma, your granddaddy beat the crap out of you, aunties, uncles. So in your mind, you thought that it's okay. That's a way of a person showing they love you. That's another thing we say in the black community. I beat you because I love you. And then when your child get grown and they getting their tail whooped by their boyfriend or their husband, you can't figure out why they don't see something wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's like, you taught them it's okay to get beat. So what you mean, you know, why are you looking at them like they're crazy now that they're in an abusive relationship? You taught them that. I mean, come on now. You set the precedent for that. I just think we don't think about that in our community. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we just accept it because we've always been beat. You know?
Right.
Whether it be figuratively, literally. So that's just common in our community. But I think that's really toxic and problematic to tell your child, I beat you because I love you.
Yeah, that's true. And like I said, you know, you looking at a child that didn't get whoopings.
Me personally, I don't want to beat my kids. I think what works best is when you wait.
Is that why you don't want to beat your kids? Because you didn't get any whoopings?
I got whoopings, but they were rare. And I felt like when I did get whooped, it was out of frustration. Yeah. You know, I can count on one hand how many times I got a spanking. And again, I feel like my parents spanked me
Did I spank
out of
you
frustration.
when they told me you was dancing on top of the table at the pre-K?
We're not talking about that. That's in the past. I'm living my best life. I ain't got time to go back and forth with you. Like, that's in the past.
Okay.
Let's stay
that's
on
what I
topic.
should have spanked you with. Let people tell me you was on top of the table in pre-K dancing.
Okay, that was pre-K. We've grown, we've evolved. We're gonna let that go.
Okay, we're gonna let it go.
You know, my aunt, she had me in a lot of hoochie mama clothes. I feel like she encouraged that spirit. I love you, auntie, but I feel like you encouraged that spirit on me by the little outfits you bought me when I was 3 and 4. But anyway, we're not talking about that, okay? So back to the topic. I think for me, what worked best for me was when stuff was taken away. Like my mom said, when the cell phone got taken away, when the car got taken away, you know, that hurt me more. Because in my ideology is, okay, you gonna spank me. Okay, it's gonna hurt for the 20-30 minutes. And then the pain is gonna, you know, subside. And then I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go back to playing my video game, or I'm gonna go back to going on my phone, or I'm gonna, you know, do what I'm gonna do. My day's gonna go on, you know. Whereas if you take away the video game or the Xbox or the PlayStation or the cell phone or the laptop, you know, that's gonna hurt more. door or the car, because now you really gotta reflect. Like, dang, why did I do that? Like,
and you were devastated.
Yeah,
about the car.
you know.
I was like, wow, because nothing really moved you. But when you
and
got
each
your
child
car,
is different. I know that.
when you got your car, it was taken away. It was like, Mom, like, oh, what am I gonna do?
That's what I think Toya from Married to Medicine should do. She should start taking stuff away from them, because I feel like that'll affect them more. Because like I said, you get a few, pounds on your butt. Yeah, you in pain. Yeah, you cry. But after that, you shake it off after, 30 minutes to an hour or two, and you going back playing your game, and you going on with life, And I think also it can kind of translate in your adult life to where if you go through trauma in your life, you brace yourself as you go through the trauma, and then once it's over, you're like, okay, whatever. Right. You never really take the time to really reflect on it or address it. You just go through the trauma and you keep on. And then it's not until maybe later in life or in a different capacity that trauma shows up again, because you never took the time to resolve it.
Right.
So I just think, when you beating your kids like that, you got to be careful, because there's a lot of ways it can show up. And I feel like a lot of kids, especially in our community, a lot of them do have resentment towards their parents. And another thing that I think bothers me in the Black community is that when you express yourself sometimes to your parents, it's seen as disrespectful, and that can really mess you up once you're grown, because you may be afraid or timid to express yourself in the workplace or in other ways. You know what I mean? For the most part.
To a certain point, I did.
To a certain point.
Okay, guys, we're back. The camera stopped. But what we were saying, Samantha was saying, I let her express herself to a certain point. Mm-hmm. And so go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so before the video cut off, y'all, I was saying that I think sometimes parents look at children as when they want to express themselves or speak their mind, they're automatically deemed as being disrespectful. And of course, you gotta, I know you have to be cognizant of like your tone when you're speaking to your parent. You can't be out here like, F you mama, da 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 da. You can't be doing that. But I think just like if you're speaking in a calm manner, you just want to express yourself to your parent, I think it shouldn't be deemed as being disrespectful just because, your parent may not agree with what you're saying. That's all.
Yeah, so, and I can understand, what you're saying. It may have some damage too, but, like I said, my generation was raised that, you got spankings and it was okay. But now that I look at it through, at your point of view, I do believe, and knowing that, I didn't really have to spank you a lot and you turned out fine, whereas I got spankings and I think I turned out fine. So are the spankings really effective? Is it effect? In some instances, I guess it is. It depends on the child.
There's no rule book to raising a child.
Right.
Everybody is learning as they go. Nobody is an expert in raising kids. I don't care how many you got, how long you've been doing.
Because each child is different.
There is no set manual that works for all. There is no one size fit all. And I think that parents do the best that they can with what they have and with what they know. I think that your grandparents, is traumatic and tough.
I'm definitely not gonna be spanking my grandbabies.
Now she cut me off, y'all. She cut me off, y'all. Anyway, but I think that your grandparents, they did the best they could. Your mom did the best. Yeah. Your mom and dad did the best they could. They did, and I think you and my dad and my stepdad, y'all did the best y'all could with what you know. So it's not to bash parents, because you do the best you can. There is no manual, but I do think it is important for us to stop and reflect. Like, why are we doing this? Is
it effective?
Right. And I don't think it's anything wrong with questioning it. I think some people, when you question things, they're like, oh my gosh, why are you questioning? They freak out, and it's like, keep an open mind. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Or we can be like the others and say, Connor, come here. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know if I'm gonna be doing all of that. I'm gonna be honest.
So are you gonna do that?
Harrington?
know, or are we gonna be loved?
Buddy, come back, buddy.
So I think that children need boundaries. They need authority.
Yes.
They need structure. They need to know
Authoritarian.
They need to know that mommy and daddy is in charge, and I
Right.
think
That's
you can
important.
enforce that. I had a grandmother when we were in church. My grandmother could look at me and my cousins, and instantly it was fear. She didn't have to say a word. She didn't have to spank us. She
Right.
could just look at us from the motherboard.
Mm-hmm.
She could just look at us, and we would stop talking or doing whatever we wasn't supposed to do in church, because she had set that boundary with us, and we knew that she was the matriarch of our family.
Yeah, children, they need boundaries. I agree 100%.
We knew
They
that
do.
she
They
was
do.
not playing with us.
Right.
You know, so, and she never spanked me. My grandmother never spanked me, but I knew, and I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, but I knew that she meant business. I knew that she meant business. So, and she never spanked me. She didn't have to spank me because we just had that conversation. So, you know, I don't know if I was just that type of child, or if that works with every child. Like Samantha said, each child is different. So
Right.
whatever works for you, but I want to do that with my grandkids. I want to, you know, let them know, you know, that you come over in that house, she run a tight ship over here.
I think all grandparents
Okay.
say that until the grandbabies get
I
it.
run
Like,
a
what do you
tight ship.
want? Do you want me to cut your sandwiches in a star, in a heart?
So
Like, what do you want
I
me to do?
know I would probably take the same method that I took with Samantha, and I probably won't be doing a lot of spanking. And that's just, I had conversations with Samantha, and I think that's why you are so talkative and so expressive, because we had conversations. I had conversations with Samantha when she was like 4 and 5. You know, we had, because it was just her and I, so we had to talk. We had to have conversations. You know. So, but whatever works, you know, for
I think it's good to shape them and mold children when they're young.
right, and
Because
I
it
started young.
Yeah, because it's hard when you don't, you know, have that structure when they're young, and then as they get older, then you want to implement the structure, and then it's like,
Right,
it's hard.
you have to start with them when they're young.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
All right, so that's
To spank or not
Not
to
to
spank,
spank.
y'all? To spank or not to spank? What do y'all think? Yeah, what do y'all think? Do you believe in the, what is it? Spare the rod, spoil the child? Do you
Mhm.
believe in that
Biblical.
ideology, that biblical?
And let us know. Do you remember your worst spanking, or do you even remember, you know, why you were getting spanked? I don't even. Sometimes
Was it ever explained to you, or was
Yeah.
it just, I'm gonna beat your ass?
you know, or you
I'm gonna
know,
beat your ass.
I got spanked because I wanted to go with my mama.
When you say it, it sounds so stupid. I got spanked because I wanted to go with my mom.
And she didn't want me to go.
Because she was really mad at your daddy.
You know,
She-
but now that I'm older,
the
you
anger
know,
that she had directed at him,
but she
put
wanted.
it on
I was
you.
up under her all the time, and now that I'm
And
older,
she was
I'm-
irritated.
right, and she wanted her space,
And she needed a break.
and she needed
And your
a
dad
break.
wasn't helping her with
And
that.
my dad,
And
not
she
when
was
I
mad.
right now when I started hollering and crying, he was like, "Oh no, Velma, you take her with you, boo." So
And I get it, parents getting frustrated and flustered.
Right.
And I think that's another reason why parents may whoop their kids, because they tired,
Yeah,
they exhausted,
exhausted.
they need a space. We all need our space. So I could see that you
Yeah.
getting upset and you just like
Right.
snap. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's
you
why I put
agitated.
you out. You know, I had worked all day, and you gonna get smart with me, and you 5. Well, go, Samantha. If you gonna run away, go ahead, go.
Girl,
Let
you
me
would
help
have died if I would have walked away. She need to stop, y'all.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have still been on the
Yeah,
other
I
side of that
would
door,
have.
she would have died, honey.
I would have.
Literally.
But I knew she wasn't going nowhere.
She would have died, child.
Yeah. But y'all don't call me fat no more now.
No, whatever. Anyway, all right, guys. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. To spank or not to spank? What is your experience like with that? Were you spanked as a child growing up? Did you spank your children? If so, why? If not, why? And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, I am Sammy Nicole. This is Fifi. We are the Sammy Nicole and Fifi Show, a dynamic mother and daughter duo. And until next time, bye. See you